Welcome to second part of this, this Sunderban and sustainable tourism. So far the discussion was, we were churning out that how the Sunderban is so beautiful, man-animal conflict, man-to-man conflict, energy-energy conflict, and so much so that we wanted to understand how tourism can take place within this periphery. So now coming to the theme, sir, I will always the first step get back to Dr. Vass. Dr. Vass, tourism is we have around 80 million tourism in West Bengal, and if you talk about Sunderban and Sunderban, as we were discussing in the in the break, that it is actually a mass tourism, right? So how do you see that the government can play a major role to bringing a significant amount of governance to make sure that the tourism is safe and also a happy experience for the as Indian as well as foreigners?
So my feeling is government has no role in tourism except acting as a facilitator. They have to ensure proper law and order and basic laws, tourism policy, and watch that all these things are being taken place. As far as Sundarban is there, I feel first and foremost requirement is tourist ethics, because in the launch you have 40-50 people, and most of the time they talk among themselves, so they miss a large number of birds and other wildlife which is there. So I think need is to create more awareness. Guides, they are doing, the tourist guides, they are doing good job, but I think for one guide it is not possible to take care of 40 people, 30 people in a launch. So perhaps there may be one more. And then wayside facilities till you reach the Sundarban. Those facilities are almost non-existent. So I have been informed by many families, they face problem because for 3-4 hours they have to travel on the road without washroom facilities and all that. Condition of jetty for such a big number of movement, it is also required. And above all, I feel that these watercrafts, their licensing, their facilities, they has to be properly monitored, and it has to be a voluntary program. I am not saying the government rules and regulations should be there and to harass anyone, but a accreditation system as we have in case of star hotels and all that, if some sort of this comes, so if somebody booking from Belgium or from Gujarat or some other places, if he or she know that this is a 3-star launch and these are the facilities which are there, so they will not be surprised to see or shocked to see when they see that there is no facility in the launch. So these things, I think these are the enforceable things, and this should be part of the tourism policy. For the state of West Bengal, I will say that West Bengal tourism policy is under formation, and from the forest department side, from the wildlife wing, the tourism policy for the protected areas of West Bengal, that has already been framed and submitted.
Yeah, Dr. Bass, as you pointed, it was a very important term we call ethics in tourism. But also, you have touched a very important point that we need to provide some facilities, right? We need to provide some good facilities so that everybody is invited there and they feel at home, at peace. So to do that, you have a government role, but more importantly, I guess that the private interventions, the entrepreneurship has to be there. So in your opinion, so what is preventing? Why the, I understand that probably it has to be a balance because it's an it's a heritage place. So if you are opening up for everyone, why can't we have a development as well as cohabitation for the tourist?
Frankly speaking, I do not have much exposure about the role being played by many other role players, but I can tell you something about the role of the forest department because I worked there in Sundarban. So now a eco-sensitive zone concept has come.
Yes.
We always felt when we received complaints that a tourist lodge has come up which plays loud music at 10 in the night and disco type of party does take place just outside the forest. We did not have any provisions under any act to do anything outside for this type of activity. Though we felt that such type of activities should not be there, and it should be ecotourism. It's not the normal tourism, picnic tourism. But now the eco-sensitive concept has come up and eco-sensitive zone has been declared. In case of Sunderban, we are talking about 2-kilometer area from the fringe of the forest is in the eco-sensitive zone, and in that tourism is certainly a welcome and this permitted activity, but there are certain ethics which has been provided. For example, you have to go for water harvesting, you have to use renewable energy as far as practically possible, then you have to go for effluent treatment so that you do not spoil the water of the adjoining areas. Then you have to try to engage for local jobs. You should have the local people as far as practically possible. We found that 1 or 2 big tourist lodge, they were painted pure white color, and right from the Sudarnakhali area, they were visible. Such a glaring colors, whereas they should be camouflaged properly, so that they do not. So all these things are going to be implemented or enforceable. So any violator of these things, certainly the authorities there, they will have right to stop, to entertain them or deny permit if they do not follow these fundamental rules.
Coming to Dr. Dhanda, as Dr. Vyas was saying that, we need to enforce certain rules and everything. But I got an hypothesis, so you can call it as an hypothesis. See, Sundarban has not been created today. It's been there. It's a natural sources. People were inviting others to come and in. So why the intervention at GOVT? Do you think the intervention of GOVT has really improved the situation of the Sundarban? We let it be there. Let it be an auto maintained system. Let the people come. Let there be an entrepreneurial model. Why the government is so proactive to saying that you do these. Why not the best sense of the people be prevailed?
See, the way we are a new democracy, and we've had a colonial legacy. And we've, as a citizenry, we are used to being told what to do. Till liberalization happened, entrepreneurship really did not have any space. Even what you manufacture, how many you manufacture, what you do, what you don't do, everything was under a regime. If you look back in history even further, before colonial times, you had a feudal system. You were driven by which caste you were born in, where you were born, and so on and so forth. So as a citizenry, we are used to being told what to do, right? And at the time we became independent, if you look at our constitution, if you look at the deliberations in the Constituent Assembly, the attitude is paternalistic. That I, as the government, know more than you do what is in your good. Right? So this has to change, and this is changing now.
Okay,
that's
the good news.
Yes, this is changing now. But as I said, we are a new democracy. We are only less than 75 years old, so this is going to take a little longer, right? For people to get used to the idea that I am on my own, I can decide. Dr. Vyas said he is not exposed to the other actors. Let me share that within the tourism sector, there are boat owners, there are lodge owners, and various others. None of them have come together to form a federation of that kind that can be self-regulating. That is what Dr. Vyas was mentioning, that it need not be enforceable, but it should be self-regulating. I've recently come back from Masai Mara, and the way it is managed, the way the government facilitates, that also he said the government's role is only to facilitate.
Yes, that's the point.
Yeah.
No, he acknowledges
Yes.
that the government is only a facilitator.
Yeah. There is a small airport in Nairobi, which is not the main airport, and it is meant for small aircrafts that travel to Masai Mara. Now, how did this small airport come about? This small airport came about by government's facilitation, but investment from the tourism sector itself. So it is the airline companies, it is the lodges who have concessions within Masai Mara, and everybody else who has a stake in tourism, right? So this is something which we have to inculcate. You know, the boat owner should not have an insular association. He is part of the larger ecosystem of tourism, and therefore there should be.
But acknowledging that Sunderban being the Sunderban and so much of importance it has on the ecology, so it has to be a balanced kind of thing. It's not pure entertainment.
No. It's certainly not pure entertainment. The problem with tourism in Sundarbans is also that we have been promoting it as a tiger tourism destination. Sundarbans is much more than tigers.
Yeah, I guess 260 numbers of birds there.
Birds.
More than that?
This is one of the most diverse mangrove ecosystems in the world. This is the largest mangrove patch in the world, taken India, Bangladesh together. This is also of historical significance. None of the artifacts, human artifacts, is promoted within Sundarban. Say for example, Jotar Deul. Jotar Deul is more than 1,000 years old, right? Jotar Deul was never discovered until Dampier Hodges' survey was conducted in the 1830s, right? But that structure still stands, right? And that could be a destination. Exploring historical events. There were settlements in the Sundarbans. These settlements that we see now are from the period from 1790s until 1943. But that does not mean the place had no human settlement back in history. You will find human artifacts thousands of years old, right? But that's not part of the tourism circuit. We, people who have been interested in the Sundarbans, have actually failed in promoting Sundarbans in its totality.
So accepting that we fail to promote the inclusive truthness, we have sustainable like company. So those who are really, I think those who are really want to do something about promoting tourism. So Mr. Kunal, if I come back to you and ask you that A, B, C, three things you want to immediately do to encompass an inclusive tourism which also balances ecological challenges. So what would be your A, B, C?
See, first of all, let me make a general statement, not only with respect to only tourism and in Sundarban. The general statement that I want to make is that anything that you do, any activity that a man carries out, we have to measure it. We'll have to measure it to see, to assess that how much of, what is the degree of sustainable aspect this particular activity of a human being is maintained. In the sense, when we talk about, I'll give you a kind of example to explain my point, is that we talk about plastic. Plastic is causing so much of environmental pollution, which is something you and I can't deny. But I'd rather go upstream and see that why those plastics are being used, and how they're being strewn all over the place. What I'm trying to say by what I'm saying is that I'd rather measure a tour operator, all the stakeholders who are involved in tourism industry, let's say in case of Sundarbans, I'd like to measure their activities, their action, the boat holders' action, the tour operators' action, and the kind of framework which, if there's a need, then perhaps the government also has to, will have to change their, edit their policy. idea is to measure at upstream so that the plastics which are being generated downstream are not generated. To the extent is possible, you minimize it. And this measurement aspect, given an opportunity, let me talk about how we are measuring, not only in case of tourism, not only in the context of Sunderban, but generally all that we are doing as something which a company who are promoting sustainability, that we are trying to measure all these human activities on the basis of three coordinates. On three coordinates. What are those three coordinates? One is planet, one is people, a third is prosperity. In the sense, by prosperity I mean that there has to be some economic sense that makes to people who are involved in that activity, is to encourage them to do what we would rather like them to do from sustainability perspective. Planet is an obvious thing, whole world is talking about things. What the world is not talking about is measurement of the activity. They talk about, the whole world is talking about the how many tons of plastic that has been dug out from the ocean bed. What I am saying is that we should go upstream and measure the activities which generated so much of plastic, whether it is for manufacturing, whether it is use, or whether it is a habit of throwing plastic all over the place. So measurement is important based on people, planet, and
So we call it A as a measurement? You want to offer that the tourism should be measured?
Activities need to be measured.
Understand the impact of the tourism?
Yes.
So what is the B? If you...
Key is that now specific to Sunderban, that which I've already touched upon, that people have to go and live the life. It's not that a tourist should not go to Sunderban just to watch tigers. Tiger is part of the environment. The tourist should go to Sunderban. I mean, that's the way we'll have to create the mindset among the stakeholders, that the tourists should come to Sunderban to spend life there. Like Dr. Danda has spent 20 years of his life, a large part of his life in Sunderban, and he still cannot forget his experience there. That's the way we would like to promote tourism to a tourist, that you go live a day or two or a week, live a life like the local villagers do, and that is experiential tourism. That is what I'd rather focus on, rather than just sighting tigers or sighting crocodiles or sighting river dolphins.
Okay. Coming to Dr. Bass. So Dr. Bass, Dr. Danda was saying is a failed tourism approach we have been taking. Mr. Kunal is having an aspiration to having an inclusive tourism, measuring that out the activities of the humans so that we can attract people. So far, so much so, if we are doing and promoting this thing, you do think that we must attract the foreign tourist, not only the Indian tourist. Do you think that the impact of doing all those things, promoting tourism, will help Sunderban to become more Sundari?
So my feeling is that parameter to judge how ecotourism is going on should not be the number of visitors only. I personally feel that if instead of 2.5 lakhs, if even half of the people go there, but they're the quality people. Quality people means who are going there for the nature appreciation. At one time I tried to promote, because only about 2% of the people they see tiger. So I wanted to promote Sunderban as for serenity. Right. The moment you are on the launch, sitting and watching this tidal waters is going up and going down, and lush green mangrove forest, mud skippers clinging on the even roots. So all this, it's a beauty itself. Right. So we have to promote this type of tourism, and with tourist ethics and consistent efforts for promoting these type of activities, we have forgotten one thing. Sundarban is perhaps the only protected area, in India and maybe in Southeast Asia or Asia Pacific. It is a biosphere reserve since 1989, It is World Heritage Site since 1987. It is a Project Tiger area from 1973. It has 4 wildlife sanctuaries and 1 national park. And now recently it has also been declared Ramsar site. With so much of international accolades with it. Why can't we take these stars? I have seen World Heritage Site itself attracting people from many other areas, but in case of Sundarban, till now we have not been successful in attracting the quality tourists from other areas, especially foreigners, I will say, till now. But I am hopeful that with so much to offer, if we properly market it, right type of people from entire globe, they will love to be here.
Okay. So, ethical tourism and historical background of Sundarban, inclusive life with the Sundarban people, so much so. But before, we're almost into the end of the program. But before we ending, I think I must ask a question to Dr. Anurag Danda, who has done his research, 5 years research on Sundarban. And I have a simple question, Mr. Danda, why someone would repent in his entire life if he doesn't visit Sundarban?
There is nothing like the Sundarbans anywhere in the world. And if somebody does not come to the Sundarbans, the reasons to repent are multiple. And in light of global warming, climate change and sea level rise, time's running out. So if you've not been to the Sundarbans, the time is now.
Before I end, I would request our guest today to share their experiences by maybe a one line of writings.
I think let us start from Mr. Kunal.
So these are conflicts.
Okay.
Effect of Sundarban.
So what is your expectation?
My expectation that at least everyone should visit Sundarban once in their life, whether it's an Indian or it's a foreigner, because Sundarban is Sundari because we visit them or we visit it.
Great. And here you want our views on
Yes,
Sundarbans?
on Sundarban, of course. Thank you, Mr. Danda. So coming to Dr. Bash.
Wonderful.
So, Dr. Bhanda, unlike anything else in the world, it's about Sundarban. And Dr. Bass, Sundarban for serenity, experience it. Truly, Sundarban is Sundari. Please explain it.
The relationship of the tiger and people in Sundarban is unique. On one hand, people are afraid of tiger as they feel that inside the forest, tiger may kill them. On the other hand, they feel that tiger is a protector for them because it protects mangrove forest, and mangrove is saving them from cyclones and tornadoes which come in the area.
The way we would look at tourism in Sundarban is that a tourist will go to the place, spend a day with the local people, and they enjoy their life as much as they themselves do.
Besides the obvious, people kill tigers because they want to enhance themselves. It is the subaltern speaking to the state. It is claiming that we exist. So it's basically a way to communicate to a power that is disproportionately larger.